Good late morning, early afternoon, whatever you would like to call it, everybody. My name is Courtney. I'm with National Contracting Center. I am being joined by Miss Rachel Thomas, who is our National Sales Development Manager. We're going to talk to you today all about branding, starting from why it's important and going clear through how we can help you do it. We are going to turn off our cameras here in a second. We wanted you to see our happy smiling faces before we did that. But if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or type them in the chat. As we go, we will happily field any questions that you have, and we do want this to be as interactive as possible. So hopefully you can see my screen. Can't see my face anymore, but I'm still smiling. We are going to start our branding webinar, and as soon as I'm able to move this, our agenda is to first off help you define your brand, from the why to the wow. That was my morning coffee phrase right there. We're going to help you use your brand, and then once you use it, that brand will automatically work for you. So we're just going to step you through what I would consider a normal branding process, but the key is in getting you recognized at the end. So in order to start your brand, and I think Rachel will agree with me, you have to understand. You have to understand why you're doing this. What made you get into the insurance business? Why do you want to help Medicare beneficiaries? Is ACA your real passion? If you don't have your initial why, it's very hard to brand yourself. This why should drive almost everything that you do, as far as you as a person, you as an agency owner, you as a small business owner. Would you agree with that, Rachel?
I would, in this concept here of being able to quickly explain to folks that you interact with, why do you do what you do and why should you work with me? This concept also translates to some things that my team talks to folks about, which is networking. And, sometimes you have to curtail this type of why and why me to who you're speaking to. So the concept helps in many other ways when you're trying to figure out what your approach might be for different lead sources.
Absolutely. So there's some generic whys. Why do I do what I do? Well, you have a passion for helping seniors. And you see a real need to protect vulnerable seniors, and you want to be their trusted guide and resource when it comes to making their healthcare decisions, which really does secure their future. The healthier somebody is, the much better life they could potentially lead. And then why you? Why should somebody choose you as their trusted advisor? A great reason is because you understand the importance of making these decisions, and you want to help somebody do that in the most personal and best way for them. You really want to be the advocate to make their healthcare choices work.
So carrying on, how to make yourself memorable, your brand memorable. There's lots of different ways to do this. This whole webinar today gets me excited. But the biggest thing is just be you and be unique. So what are unique qualities that you have? Are you an avid golfer? How about you set up free putting lessons somewhere in your community? Um, are you an avid runner? Do you exercise a lot? Are you really into your physical health? Partner with Silver Sneakers. You have to lean in to the things that you love to do, because that's when the real authenticity comes to play. I had agents in the past who were very good at playing the piano. They were very musical. And so they would do free music nights at the local senior center or the local library, getting creative doing those things, finding out what makes you unique. And to remain successful with all of this, this is very standard practice in anything that we do. It's being consistent with your follow-up, delivering on what you promise, your why work with me. You have to put that into action. It's also understanding your seasons. What season are we in? Are we in the AEP? Are we in the lock-in? And being able to pivot around that time of the year. And then, working really hard to establish trust. One of the things that we hold ourselves very accountable to here at NCC is delivering what we promise. It's a foundational pillar that all of us are expected to abide by that and think about that in all of our actions on a daily basis. So, be you, be unique, and do all of the things you can to stay successful.
Also, the big part to branding is staying consistent. So once you have decided to brand yourself, you got to use it. You have to make sure that that brand is consistent through absolutely everything you do. So once you create your logo, once you work with us to help you create your logo, if you don't have one, or maybe you want to rebrand yourself, maybe that logo is just not speaking to you anymore. Make sure that you use it in everything. If you have a set color scheme, like you will see through this presentation that we at National Contracting Center use, make sure you use it in everything, whether it's a presentation, a mailer, a billboard, a flyer, your business cards, even that small piece of collateral is hugely important for you to get your brand recognized. And that's the start of really making your brand work for you. So as you're building it, make sure that you're using it consistently as well. This is what NCC can do for you. We can legitimately help you do everything for your brand. So you'll see on this slide some of the brands that we have helped make logos for. Mr. Fred Williams and his senior health insurance business. Miss Gwen Bryant with her Be Insured. We really take some creative liberties. If you tell us, hey, this is kind of what I'm going for, can you help me? Absolutely. But we do rely on your feedback as a small business owner to tell us what you like. Do you like those colors? If Christy Breeden didn't like mountains, we probably shouldn't have done that logo. And we rely on you to be very open and honest with us. If you go to like a marketing consultant to have logos made, it will legitimately cost you a few $1,000s. At National Contracting Center, this is part of our partnership to help you make your business work. And this is some of the things that we're able to provide. And a logo is a big, big deal. You have your business name, you give us a little bit of the creative liberties behind it and become very open with your feedback. You're not going to hurt our feelings. At the beginning, we're just kind of throwing darts to see what you may or may not like. And we can be very simple. MR Medicare Incorporated is very simple, but it's also very telling. We have Kathy Jarrett LLC at the bottom. The business names don't have to be crazy creative. We can do the creative portion just in how the aesthetics of your logo appear. So please keep that in mind and use us to your benefit while you're creating your brand. I know this is something that Rachel and her sales development staff are crazy passionate about.
Yeah.
And it's our event in a box. And I'll let Rachel tell you what all is involved in that, but you'll see the continuity of the brand as she goes through this.
Yes, this stuff gets us really excited because, you know, one of the things that our mission is in sales development is to equip you with confidence in the field. So we have many, many, many conversations. We talk to agents for hours. We truly invest in getting to know you and what your intentions are with working with us and what your intentions are for your business. And one of those things is providing you with beautiful materials that make you confident in the field. So one of the things we encourage are hosting events. And this can be anything from sitting at the flea market to working at an Edward Jones or being at a senior center or having a tabletop at a massive senior health expo. But if you need it, we've got it. Okay. So the components here for the custom tabletop kit event in a box are going to be the top left-hand corner. You can see a consent to contact card, fully customized to you. Of course, we've made everything here red, white, and blue for continuity with Medicare, but imagine your brand on all these materials. You also in the middle are going to get a generic Medicare flyer that promotes you. If you have a headshot, fantastic. I love faces and names and brands going together, but if you don't, that's okay. You can have a custom business card. You'll see down on the bottom right, this 6 foot, imagine a 6 foot floor pop-up banner customized to you. We can change anything about this. If your messaging doesn't want to be questions about Medicare, that's okay. All of this is customizable. You see the table here. We also have a sign on the middle of the table. I couldn't really figure out how to make this. I maxed out my Canva skills here. So imagine that this is a swag that runs across your table, so it's easy to roll up and roll out. Again, that's totally customizable. And then some type of tabletop signage. You'll see that little easel on the table there. That could be, anything that you want it to say. So all of this is fully customizable, but these are the components: your consent to contact, a flyer, a business card, a 6 foot pop-up banner, a table swag, as well as tabletop signage. So these are the basic things that will, you can keep it in a tote, keep it in your garage, keep it in your trunk, refill as needed. But, we want to equip you with the tools to be able to get out and execute on the, things that we coach and talk to agents about.
And to be really honest, I have one of these in my car for National Contracting Center when we do the NABIB events and agent recruiting events and everything. We roll out this exact setup that is just geared to us, our branding colors, our logo, etc. So we are out there using exactly what we're suggesting you to use. So we do know that this exact setup is something that works and it gets really good attention across the board.
Yep, and we'll show you some examples here in a little bit of our live agents in the wild and how they've used it and they put their own twist or spin on things. Again, one of the superpowers we have here at NCC is to equip you with anything that it is you need. Our goal is to get you confident and active out in the field. So as we have creative chats and we think about our next lead resource, our next referral partner, our next opportunity, we can create any flyer it is that you need. Do you want to partner with a pharmacy? Great. Here's an extra help forward flyer. Do you want to walk into a human resources department at a local company and talk to them about how your services will help save the company money? Great. We've got a flyer for that. Do you have disruption in your service area? Is your DSNP coverage leaving? We've got a flyer for that. We've got a flyer for everything. You can see a VA flyer on here. You can see an events flyer. Whatever it is, guys, we can make it happen for you. And the biggest piece here is not just the cost savings that Courtney mentioned earlier, having to pay somebody to do this for you, but we also know the language we're allowed to use, and everything is CMS compliant. We have an in-house compliance officer. Everything gets ran by them. So if you were to outsource this to someone else, you would have to provide that person with the content. They're just a graphic designer. They don't know CMS compliance and all of these rules that seem to change every 6 months to a year. So you can rest assured that anything we create is going to have the proper disclaimers, the proper language, and the sky's the limit with us. There's just so many unique things that we can do.
Yeah. And David asked a great question, and you will see even through our presentation that a lot of what we do is Medicare facing. And David asked how people are incorporating ACA into this type of branding. And that is really as simple as saying under 65 products offered as well, or all healthcare needs addressed. Anything like that, you can just add a simple little block letting people know that you do more than Medicare, even though Medicare is your main focus. And I think that will actually get more attention than you will think. If somebody is paying attention enough to pick up your flyer, stop by your booth at an event, look at your business card, they will know that you're going to offer more than Medicare products just by an additional one or two lines or a tiny box.
Oh, yeah, or just even changing imagery or changing the call to action. If like for example, questions about Medicare, um, questions about healthcare. So there's simple things that you can do to change that call to action for folks. So David, I encourage David to touch base with his sales development manager so we can help you figure this out.
There you go. We can actually create you some content while you're doing that. So just let us know how we can help. I keep losing my little button. I really do miss Brandon on
I
webinars like today, where
know.
I just find out how inept I am when it comes to Zoom. But we'll leave that. We got the branding down. That's what matters.
Yep.
These are some great ways to incorporate your brand right off the bat. A lot of you guys already have a book of business. By rolling your brand out to people that you already have an existing business relationship with, you're going to get some very candid and honest feedback, and you're going to start that recognition right off the bat. So if you already, if you have a life insurance book of business, maybe you do some side work as an accountant, or maybe that's your main gig, and this is some side work. These are all great ways. I also don't know how to spell annuities, but I'm going to blame that one on Rachel because I kind of hijacked her presentation. So we do spell check things before we give them to you. We just didn't spell check this. But any type of book of business that you have, you're able to use that and start rolling out that brand immediately to those people, which puts us in our next little um, branding exercise, and that is using your natural market to push your growth as a small business owner. So we have two different natural markets. The first one we're going to start with is your personal market, and that is your book of business, like we just went over. Any social groups, clubs, maybe you're doing some co-ed athletics. Maybe you're still very much involved with friends from school or college. Definitely your friends and family. Those people are going to be the most honest with you across the board. At least they should be. And then your neighbors, and whether that's from a previous neighborhood or the people that you are currently living around, these are the best places to not only, start as a small business owner, but really roll out your brand and get that feedback and understand how a logo can affect the way somebody thinks about your business. And how that can really start to get you some recognition as you use it in your marketing in a consistent manner. These are the do's and don'ts of using your personal natural market to start to grow your business. Rach, you want to take it away?
Absolutely. So, one of the biggest things that we encourage agents to do is just ditch the pitch. In the beginning when we chatted a little bit about understanding what your why is, why do I do what I do and why should you work with me? The intention behind that is that it's just a natural thing. That very quickly you're explaining to people who you are, what you do, and why you do it. So making it as natural as possible. And when you're with folks, the worst thing you can do, and I'm really bad about this because I'm an educator, a teacher. I like to teach things. I like to talk to brokers. But it's important not to talk at your clients. Um, Tell them what it is that they need. You're just jamming these benefits down their throat, like, well, you said you needed dental, and you're just, hitting it with a hammer. Not everything's one size fits all approach. Once you really start to understand how the carriers work, you're diving into evidence of coverage, you're figuring out how those claims processes work, and you just start to really become that industry expert. It is not a one size fits all. That tends to be sometimes those telesales folks that just sell somebody something because they said they needed dental. So boom, they put them on this plan. Using industry jargon, that's also another one that's off-putting. Folks don't understand that. Or simply relying on upfront product benefits to sell it, or interrupting your client. And some of these are pretty obvious, but sometimes we don't know that we're doing it. I always encourage agents, when you approach your personal natural market and you've got Aunt Betty or your mom and dad, somebody close to you when you first start this out, and you're going to do that first Medicare presentation or even your second or third, ask to record it and listen back to yourself. Practice does make perfect. Listen back to yourself, see how many times you say like I just did. Listen to, did I interrupt this person? Did I ask them any leading questions? So again, going to the do's, ask them questions. What are your main health concerns this year? Is saving money important to you? Maybe just asking the "is saving money important to you" question leads you to uncovering them talking about how they only make X a month. Sometimes folks can be very open with you, and that leads you to, oh my goodness, I think you might qualify for extra help. You might qualify for Medicaid just by asking a simple question and letting them talk. Using stories is also a really great way to build rapport with folks as you're going through those benefits, maybe a story about how this benefit helped a client you had. So short stories to use as examples can help folks understand and relate to the benefits that you're trying to show them. And again, that is also illustrating how you can help them.
I also think all this puts people at ease. This
Yes.
allows people to open up with you. They don't think that you're a pushy salesperson.
Yep.
They don't want to feel like they're walking on a used car lot. They want to feel comfortable so that being more conversational it's simple. And they start telling you things that they feel like they need that they didn't even think of until you started asking questions and approaching things in a more conversational manner.
Yep. Yep. And I always get I get cheesy when I talk about it, and this is super cheesy, but I really believe in it. And if you approach all of these appointments and these clients with the intention of servitude, this is an act of servitude towards these people. I'm truly here just to educate you and let you make your own decisions. These are the plans available to you. I'm going to use my expertise to guide the ship because I understand these plans. But, if you go into this thinking, I have to close 10 sales this week to make my car payment, that is going to, it detracts us from the true intention behind this, which is, yes, we make money when we enroll folks, but we truly are supposed to be as agnostic as possible and just guide them, educate them, and help them make the best decisions for themselves. So when you ditch the pitch, you're truly in stepping into those educational shoes, and it makes all the difference. And I see Brian Massery on here today, and I know that Brian does this. Brian, are you there?
I am here, yes,
Hi, Brian.
doing multiple other things. So I'm gonna make we're true confessions here that just I just black I didn't physically black out, but I guess is a better way to say it for the last 5 or 10 minutes. So I don't know what y'all said. So go ahead and
Oh,
lay it on me, whatever you got.
we were just simply talking about how your approach with your clients, this whole ditch the pitch, don't talk at them, don't go into the appointment
Correct.
with, knowing that I got to close these sales to make
That's
my
right.
mortgage at the end of the week. You want to approach it where I'm here to help.
That's it. And my philosophy, I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, right? Is if you do what's right, the money comes.
Yep.
And I
As you
think
serve, you deserve.
right, and I think people, specifically in the senior market that we're in, um, they really appreciate the authenticity. You coming in trying to help them, and um, for what I have found over time is that has really bore a lot of fruit as a result of that. And not to mention, it just really helps with the retention aspect of it as well. It's so because there's you over without the pitch. I don't go in with the pitch. You kind of break down those trust barriers right out of the chute. I feel like.
I'd agree with that. I also think that this is going to give you the most amount of referrals. Nobody's ever referred somebody to the pushy car salesman, but they
Well,
do refer people to a trusted advisor.
and I mean, I don't know how many people are on this call, but one of the things I literally say within the first 30 to 60 seconds is I am not here to sell you something. All right. If we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. If it works, do it. If it doesn't work, don't do it. All right. So, um, and I find that at that point, people, you can almost see the walls start breaking down literally in front of you. Right. Cause, they, there's that apprehension of you're coming in trying to be the slick talking salesman goes away.
Absolutely. And I think that adds to you becoming recognizable because recognizable is more than just logos and a color. It's an attitude and it's your way of doing business behind it. Again, nobody's going to refer people to you if you're like the pushy car salesperson. But if you go into everything really wanting to help somebody, I think that that is going to create that added layer behind your logo, behind the colors that you're using, to really make your business known in your natural market and even outside of that.
Well, and then branding, it's really, and y'all said this, the branding is, yeah, the colors, the name, the taglines, that's all great and well, but the branding really is you, right? It's
100%.
what what separates you from the next Medicare agent or phone call they're going to get. That is somebody's going to try to get them enrolled into something that they're currently not in. So that's the
Absolutely.
difference, I think.
We say it all the time. You are your own walking billboard in more ways than
Exactly.
one.
Exactly.
Well, Brian, thank you for coming online and giving us your tried and true method behind how you're able to help your clients. It's working. You're joining us at our front runners trip, so we're super excited about that.
Well, I am too, and it's working for me. It seems like it is anyway. Maybe one of these days I'll wake up and figure out if it is or not. So, but I'm here to help however I can, and that's across the board as far as um, the seniors. But I'll help anybody who calls me. I'll help them and give them advice or because advice I have, right? I may not have anything else, but I have opinions and advice, and I can tell people what works for me. But I would just tell people they need to do what works for them as well, because it's not what I do might not work exactly for everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody has their niche. Um,
Exactly.
and that's going to weigh true even into the professional natural market. So your personal is where we start. That's the easiest things. Those are our relationships that we deal with every day. But your professional natural market is slightly different. This is where we start to build those business to business relationships with pharmacies and providers like doctors' offices, dental offices, senior centers. Man, some of these senior centers do really cool things, and some of our agents partner with senior centers to add to that. We have one lady who is out there doing pool tournaments. So her local senior centers had some pool tables, and she noticed that people really gravitated towards those. And she started up some pool tournaments, which have worked out really, really well for her. Local networking with your Chamber of Commerce, Better Business Bureau, Meals on Wheels are crazy local. They're not even named the same across the board, but a great way to help and get your name out there at the same time. PNC companies. So, State Farm does not offer Medicare Advantage plans, but a lot of their clients want them. Geico, any of those PNC companies, partner with them. They have a market for your healthcare products just as much as your clients need their PNC coverage. All these professional relationships are really give and take. You want to build a referral stream for them as much as you want them to build a referral stream for you. If it works both ways, the relationship will become very valuable to both parties and it doesn't go away at that point. Human resources within small or large corporations in your neighborhood. These people, they know a lot about their group insurance and what they're offering to their employees, but they don't necessarily know a lot about the Medicare market or what an employee would need to do if they were let go. They know that they offer Cobra, but what is life outside of that? They need an insurance advisor like yourself to help their employees have the best life outside of that corporation. Other opportunities, parole or probation officers. There's a constant stream of people going through that. Don't bat an eye at that. Goodwill or religious thrift shops, food pantries, carrier vendor relationships. We talked a little bit about dentists. Um, our value-based providers, Centerwell, um, Oak Tree, any of those type of providers, they need you guys. Again, that referral stream, getting people in there for their initial yearly wellness visit, and to start that relationship and becoming healthier through using their doctor. These are all very, very important things to partner with to help you reach as many clients as possible and help other people grow their business or increase the health in their immediate neighborhood. Rach, you got anything to add?
Well, I just really want to put an emphasis on why it's so important that you make sure you are connected to your sales manager here at NCC. The word development in our title, we take very seriously. And these suggestions here are just the tip of the iceberg. Once you work with us to establish your brand and you feel confident walking into these places with professional things you can leave behind, we can help you figure out what is your strategy, because working with a food pantry, or what we say a grocery desert, that would refer to a area near you where there might only be one or two grocery stores. Those are grocery deserts, right? But we get really creative, guys, and I'll just tell you one simple thing. We're in lock-in right now. So C-SNPs are chronic special needs clients, those folks that are on diabetes. With the CMS shift away from that quarterly D-SNP change, C-SNPs is your pivot, okay? And we're working right now on creating some training around how do we leverage this. So for food pantries or grocery deserts, for example, you could go so far as to get creative with finding a local dietitian. Talk to them. Hey, I've got a lot of diabetic clients. There's a lot of diabetic seniors in this area. Could you help me come up with a small single meal grocery list? You could take a group of seniors on a field trip to the grocery store with the dietitian and have the dietitian show them how to go shopping. And you could do a meal under $10, you know? So there's lots of different things that you can do to get creative and start making that brand for yourself in your community. So I really encourage you to work with us on these things, whether it is the dentist, those carrier vendor partnerships. Titus on our team just actually was in Atlanta at the Croc Center where he partnered with Melissa at Silver Sneakers. She's the Silver Sneakers rep in Georgia, and they put on a walkathon and exercise. So, there's lots of different things that you can do at little cost. You just need to work with us to help figure out what those resources are, and we can plug you into a lot of those.
And I think especially with these professional relationships, when you partner with somebody, you're growing your businesses separate but together. So if you partner with the Silver Sneakers lady, it is helping her just as much as it is helping you.
Correct.
Same
Yeah.
thing with your dentist, your food pantries, across the board. Everything is a give and take. But when you're hosting events like that, you're both getting something out of it. So these partnerships don't cost you anything. Nothing more than you being a professional, true advisor to where you're not getting any complaints. That's the key.
Yep. And going back to that concept of consistency we talked about earlier with the brand, when you create these professional partnerships, you definitely want to nourish them. And a lot of times that's just simply who at this place is sending referrals my way. We have an agent in North Carolina who works with a dialysis center, and those ladies had sent her so many referrals throughout the year that she came into the office, she dropped off a box of donuts, and she wrote on a piece of paper what every lady's favorite color was. And then she went home and she ordered every single one of those ladies a tricked out Stanley mug, and they were tickled to death. And that has really nourished that relationship. And you don't have to go so far as doing that, but it's little things that show these people that you appreciate them. Being consistent with your referral partners and showing up because they're very protective of their clients. So, it's little things like that that make a big difference too.
100%. All right, well, these are some of our agents in the wild. And these are our event in a box at work, which is really cool. So, you get everything in the mail, you show up to the event, you set it up, and then your job is to be you and be that brand, be your own walking billboard and personal advocate for yourself and your clients. So these are some really cool full setups that we were able to provide some of the agents and agencies underneath of us. At this point, I'm going to open it up to any questions. If you have, questions about your current brand, what we can do for you, or where to even get started, please feel free to come off of mute. If you have anything else that you'd like to talk about, you are welcome to do that as well. That's about as much of an awkward pause as even I can handle. So I will go ahead and wrap things up. But the key to all of this is we are here to help. We want to help you grow as much as you can, and we appreciate your partnership. And we hope that we prove that in our work in servicing you as our agents in helping you grow your business. So if you need anything, please reach out to myself, Rachel, any member of the National Contracting Center staff. Please, if you want to, send Brandon Hall a note and let him know that we missed him. And he should not leave me in the wild anymore to run these all by myself. But I think overall, Rachel and I did a great job. We hope that you enjoyed it as much as we enjoy spending time with you. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we will talk to y'all soon.